Well, we're gonna go for 1 hour, but I'm gonna go a little bit longer for folks because we have someone that's random atheist who's here, and he says he got a question. So welcome, and you can unmute yourself.
So George, who says that?
What?
Who
What's
says
your?
that? I have atheists saying
Hold,
that to me all the time.
hold on, George. Random atheist. What's your first name? I think you and I've talked before, right?
Yeah, we have.
What's your first name?
Random atheist guy.
Random atheist guy. Okay. Rag.
Yeah.
Someone, someone just put random atheist guy with the acronym there is RAG. I don't know if that's really what you want to go by.
Well, Random, are you surprised that it's been my general experience that most atheists that I encounter, when I ask them why they're an atheist, they tell me there's no evidence for God? Is that what surprises you?
Say that again?
I said most atheists that I encounter, when I ask them why they're atheists, they tell me because there's no evidence for God. This is commonplace among most atheists that I encounter.
Okay.
I'll
But
say,
is that
can you
but
give
is
me
that
a good
everyone
reason?
responds to that?
I didn't say everyone.
Okay. You're lumping everyone together when you say like that, though.
No, I'll repeat what I said. Most of the atheists that I encounter give me that response.
Okay.
Like, for example, you're an atheist. If I were to ask you, why are you an atheist? What would you say?
I would say I have a lot of reasons.
Well, could you give me one good one?
Of all the gods proposed, I don't see any reason to believe in any of them.
Okay, good. Well, that doesn't entail or logically necessitate atheism. Kai Nielsen, the famous atheist author who wrote the Atheist entry in Encyclopedia Britannica, stated that all of the reasons for God may fail, but it still may be the case that God exists. So the reason that you gave me does not support the traditional and historical meaning of atheism. So do you have any other reasons for atheism?
Could you repeat that? My wife came in.
I said, do you have any other reasons than that? Because that would not logically necessitate the traditional and historical meaning of atheism.
Do I need any other?
No, you could be an atheist for no reason whatsoever. Not that I think that's the case.
So I guess the question that he's asking is, so do you have good reason to believe in atheism? You gave.
Whoa. Hold on. I don't believe in atheism. It's not a concept you believe in.
Okay,
You keep mischaracterizing it.
All right, so
okay.
you
Over
don't.
and over again.
Hold on a sec, George. George, hold
right,
on.
sorry.
So you don't believe it.
It's not something you believe in. No.
Okay, so it's not true.
Atheism isn't a true or false statement.
Okay. Let me ask you this question.
It's the response to
Okay, good.
two questions of, do you believe in X?
Okay, good. Does your atheism entail neither the affirmation nor denial of the existence of God?
No.
Really? Then what does it entail? What would be the third possibility if you neither affirmed nor denied?
I'm not affirming or denying it. I'm saying I don't believe it. That's different.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
So
hold it. You don't believe it, but you said it's not a belief thing. How could you not believe it?
Saying me specifically, when you characterized it before.
So you believe in something you don't believe in?
No.
Well, which is it? Do you believe it or do you not believe it?
Atheism is not a belief.
And yet you have a belief about it.
No,
You don't believe it.
you're mischaracterizing it.
Okay, is atheism, is it propositional, or is atheism just a mere state of mind?
It's a reaction.
Is it a state of mind without propositional content?
No,
So it's not a state of mind?
no.
Okay, good. If it's not a state of mind and it's not propositional, what else would it be?
It's reaction to a question. Do you
That
believe
would-
in God?
that would be-
No,
that
no,
would-
I don't.
That would entail a state of mind.
And to Remy in the chat, I didn't say it was. Hold on, wait.
Yeah, that's why I use the word if, meaning the on a potential example of what you might say a hypothetical in the future tense.
Remy,
or past.
if you could just read your question to him, so that, or what you said in the chat, because not everyone will have that.
Okay, so to those who haven't read it, as a context reads random, comma. If you say it's a knowledge, meaning the opposite of a belief, or a disbelief, but what is in between,
I
then
didn't say it was knowledge.
I didn't say you did, as in the word if. Do you need to go back to grade 4 to learn what the word if means? It's a pretext or a pretense.
You need to go back to
or
grade
a
1 to
hypothetical.
learn manners and not be an asshole.
You're the one who's
Okay,
interrupting me and telling me
Excuse
how
me, random. Hold on a second. If you want to get ejected, use language like that. That'll be fine. I'll eject you if you do it again. All right. The reality is you cut him off, and then you got upset when he tried to finish a sentence.
He's mischaracterizing what I was saying.
You're the
I
one
did not.
being rude, and you're accusing him of being rude. He didn't mischaracterize you because he said if you believe. You haven't let him finish reading it to answer the question to even say that. You're cutting him off and saying he's mischaracterizing.
He says if you say it's a knowledge, then you need to defend that.
Okay, so let me get back to what I was saying, and then I'll address what you're saying. The continuation, it is a knowledge, comma, then you need to defend that, because you have not actually said it's a knowledge, nor are you saying it's a belief. So there's not, what is there in between is a question I would like answered, or I'm pretty sure the room would like to have answered by logic. But if you want to go back to definitions, what the word if means, if I were to claim that you were saying or proposing a position of yourself or a knowledge of the world, which you didn't, then that would be a cause for me to say the word because you have, because you are using. But you have not, so I retract as you have not. The word if is in place of, or in condition of, or in tense of future. And so it's a possibility. It's a hypothetical. Because is a claim of knowledge.
If you want to get ejected, use language like that. That'll be fine. I'll eject you if you do it again. All right? The reality is you cut him off, and then you got upset when he tried to finish a sentence.
He's mischaracterizing what I was saying.
You're the one being rude, and you're accusing him of being rude. He didn't mischaracterize you because he said if you believe. You haven't let him finish reading it to answer the question to even say that. You're cutting him off and saying he's mischaracterizing.
He says if
Would your atheism entail neither the affirmation nor denial of the existence of God?
neither.
No, would that right? So that is what atheism is to you.
Yeah, it's simple. I just don't believe
So you okay, good. So you basically have an absence of a positive belief or affirmation, nor do you affirm the denial of the existence of God. Okay.
Yes.
Random. What do you call somebody who denies the existence of God?
I would say probably anti-theist, maybe, but I don't know.
No, that's not what an anti-theist is. So you
Okay.
want to try again? What do you call somebody who denies the existence of God?
What would you call that then?
What the overwhelming majority of dictionaries, encyclopedias, and reference works define as an atheist.
Well, that's not how a lot of people define it. So.
Well, let me ask you this question. Do you believe in, do you remember the Alice in Wonderland when Alice meets Humpty Dumpty on the wall? And
I
Humpty
didn't read Allison.
Okay, well, that doesn't matter. I'll be quick. Alice meets Humpty Dumpty, and Humpty Dumpty gets angry with her, and he says, words mean whatever I want them to mean, no more, no less. So if we're going to start using words in not their common usage, but in proprietary senses, then communication breaks down.
You mean like not being able to figure out what's a male and a female? Huh.
Where'd that come from?
You see, random.
That comes from earlier in the conversation,
Yeah,
but
that was a tongue-in-cheek.
It displays the problem that we have when we try to create an environment where words have no meaning.
Yeah, there are three basic positions on the
Words have usages.
Okay, random. There are three basic positions on the existence of God. One can affirm the existence of God, one can deny, and one can remain neutral, such as an agnostic, where you don't know whether or not God does or does not exist. So if it's your position that you neither affirm nor deny the existence of God, then the best word that you should use in order not to be confusion in common parlance is to call yourself an agnostic.
Well, I'm agnostic in the fact that I don't know if any God does or does not exist, and I'm atheist as in the fact that I do not believe in any of the proposed gods.
But you said it wasn't a belief, so is it a belief or is it not a belief?
Concept is not a belief.
Okay, but do you understand that all agnostics don't have belief in gods? They don't know. So you are making a distinction with no difference. You are defining what you are as an agnostic, but you're stripping away the label and slapping on atheist.
No, I'm not.
Okay, could you tell me then, why is it that the overwhelming majority of dictionaries, encyclopedias, and philosophical reference works define atheism as having propositional content where it negates the existence of God or any God?
I couldn't tell you why they define it that way.
You have no idea.
I didn't
why.
write the dictionaries.
Maybe that's the common usage. Believe. Would it be that there's no evidence for God?
None that's been presented has been convincing.
Okay,
And
good.
And every religion has stories that don't make sense.
But that doesn't entail.
Hold on. Because every religion? You know every religion.
Every one that I've heard so far.
You said every religion has stories that don't make sense.
Every religion.
Believe. Would it be that there's no evidence for God?
None that's been presented has been convincing.
Okay,
And
good.
And every religion has stories that don't make sense.
But that doesn't entail.
Hold on. Because every religion? You know every religion.
Every one that I've heard so far.
You said every religion has stories that don't make sense.
Every religion.
Kai Nielsen.
I don't know.
Okay, when you said that there's no evidence has been presented to you, or all of the religions about gods don't make any sense, well, that answer has been rebutted from the words of atheist Kai Nielsen. All of the reasons for God may fail, but it still may be the case that a God exists. So the fact that you are unaware of any good reasons for there to be a God doesn't entail.
I'm not unaware of any reason for there to be a God. I said I don't accept or believe.
Yeah, okay.
But your acceptance doesn't make it true or false.
Did I say it did?
So, Art, let me ask you this. So you neither affirm nor deny the existence of God. Are you neutral toward the existence of God?
Neutral to all the ones that have been proposed.
No, I didn't ask you that question. Are you neutral toward the idea
Of which God?
that there might be a God?
That there could be?
Yeah. Are
There
you
could be,
neutral
sure.
on that? Okay, then why call yourself an atheist when it's
Because I don't.
commonly understood that atheism entails the denial of the existence of God?
It doesn't entail the denial of the existence of God. You don't have to deny to not believe.
Atheism, and there's nothing set in concrete about words. Language change.
Is the universe evidence of God? No.
Okay, good. Now, could you tell me how you arrived at that conclusion?
Why would it be evidence of God?
Well, you just told me it's not.
Why would the universe be evidence of God?
Well, you didn't just merely say, I don't know whether it is or not. You told me, no, it's not. So how did you arrive at the conclusion that the universe is not evidence of God?
Well, first we have to establish which God we're talking about.
Well, that's another dodge technique. We're not talking about any
No.
persona.
We do have to specify because
no, we don't, because I can
any
give you
gods out there.
I can give you an operational definition of God. I'll give it right now so we can avoid the dodge.
Which God?
Okay, I will give you an operational definition for God. Okay, God could be defined as an eternal, non-contingent mind that produced the initial conditions of the universe. Okay,
So a deistic God.
I'm just giving you an operational definition. Okay, that could fit deist conceptions. It could fit theistic conceptions. Okay, now, how did you come to the conclusion that the universe is not evidence of any God?
It doesn't appear to be.
But that doesn't support your propositional claim.
How does it not?
Well, then what does it appear to be the result of then? You see, there's three ways. There's three ways that you could support your propositional claim that the universe is not evidence for God. You could, number one, A, demonstrate no God exists, which you're not going to do. Okay?
How do you know that?
Okay. Well, because you've already staked out a position that your atheism doesn't entail a proposition.
Well, no, and he also stated that there's no evidence for God. He gave his confirmation bias right up front.
Right.
There's no evidence for God, so he can't give evidence for God, unless, well, maybe, I mean, atheism is inconsistent, so yes, maybe he could.
Okay, so when you say there's no evidence for God, let me ask you this. What would
Andrew,
the evidence
you're not
for
consistent, okay?
Okay, Random, let me ask you this question. Since you're confident that there's no evidence for God, could you tell me...
Well, I didn't say there wasn't.
Well, you said there's the universe, you told me. I asked you, is the universe evidence for God? And you said no.
The universe, in my opinion, is not evidence for God, no.
Okay, good. Can you demonstrate that no God exists, thereby necessarily leading to the conclusion that the universe is not a product of God? Can you do that?
Can I demonstrate it?
Yes. Can you demonstrate that?
What evidence would you want that would demonstrate it?
If you state that the universe is not evidence for God, one way you could do that would be to demonstrate that no God exists, therefore the universe couldn't be a product of God. Can you do that?
How can I prove a negative?
It's not a negative.
Well, the answer is, can you do that? Yes, no, or I don't know.
Can you prove a negative?
Okay, I asked you a question. Can you?
Well, hold on. Yes, you can prove a negative. If you make a negative statement, there is no gold in China, and I produce one piece of gold, I've proven it false. So now the question to you is, can you prove it? You're trying to prove a positive here, not a negative.
Right.
Asking you to prove the positive.
Yeah. Since you assert that the universe is not evidence for God, there are at least two ways that you could do so. The first way would be to demonstrate that there is no God. Now, you're obviously not going to take that option. Now, do you know what did produce the universe?
No, I don't.
Okay, then on what basis then, since you can't demonstrate there is no God, and you can't demonstrate nor tell us what most likely did produce the universe, then on what basis do you say the universe could not be a product of God?
I didn't say it couldn't be a product of God.
Yes, you did.
You're changing this. You're
no.
changing the argument.
I asked you, is the universe evidence of God? You said no.
Yeah, that's what you said before, and then you changed it to, could it be a product of God?
It's the same thing.
No, it isn't. You changed your statement.
You're making a distinction with no difference. The creation of God, product of God, same thing.
No. You said evidence of God first. Now you're changing your question.
You're nitpicking over
I'm not
using. You are using. I can go back to using whatever word that suits your fancy. It's not a problem for me. But you asserted that.
No, I'm just not letting you get away with changing words mid-sentence.
Okay, good.
Okay. Hold on. Random. If you're gonna try and pretend that you're gonna be the one to hold people to a standard, then I'm gonna hold you to your own standard. You cannot.
Do you believe in honesty?
Yeah, obviously you don't.
Okay. Do you believe it's okay to lie about people?
What are you getting at?
Is that yes or no?
What are you getting at? You obviously have something that you're.
Yes or no?
Okay, I'll give you one more chance to answer.
Answer what?
He's dodging the question I posed to him.
Yeah.
I want you to ask the original question and not change it.
No, I asked you, is the universe evidence for God? You said no, and I said to you, by what means did you determine that?
There's no evidence supporting that it would be.
Okay, but that does not necessarily follow that it is the case that it is not evidence for God. What you have just offered us is called the absence of evidence, is evidence of absence. Now,
Is there evidence that it is?
Okay, do you believe? Okay, is your argument here the absence of evidence?
Is there evidence that it is?
Can I finish my statement to you, please?
Can I finish?
No, you interrupted me.
No, you keep interrupting. I mean, if you're gonna talk about rudeness, which you brought up before, you have a history so far of interrupting now two different people several times. Okay, so if you would like to continue a conversation, then you're going to need to start practicing some of what you expect others to do. Is that clear enough?
Sure.
Okay, so you let people finish and stop cutting them off.
Okay. So, Random, are you offering us the absence of evidence as evidence of absence in the case of the universe not being evidence for God?
Are you finished?
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, there's no evidence supporting that it was created by a God, and no evidence saying that it wasn't.
Then on what basis do you say that it is not?
I just answered that.
You haven't given us a basis. What you did was you committed circular reasoning there. You restated the thing that you were attempting to prove.
Yeah, I actually think that, to be honest with you, George, I think that you may be talking a little bit over his head. He may not even understand the basic premise.
How about? Yes, I do understand the premise.
Okay,
right.
Random, let me ask this question.
Now you're just being insulting.
Okay, I'm a homicide. You and I are homicide detectives. We walk into the crime scene. There's a dead body on the floor and a gun, and I say to you, that gun is not evidence of the homicide. And you turn to me and say, how do you know that? And I say, nobody has presented to me evidence that it is. Now, isn't that foolish?
Bullet wound?
No. Do you understand? We're talking about the gun on the floor. If I say to you that gun is not evidence of the homicide.
No, see, that's the thing. And he thinks I'm being insulting, but he's not understanding basic principles here.
Yes, I am understanding basic principles.
Then why can't you answer that basic question?
I have been answering this question.
You asked, is there a bullet hole? That wasn't the question, was it? The question wasn't what type of wound does the guy have. It's the fact that you reject. Hold on, you're rejecting evidence and just saying, well, because it doesn't count for other evidence. Okay, if you have a homicide and there's a weapon on the floor, the question is, can you throw out the weapon just because you say it's not a weapon? That was his question to you.
Well, the point of the illustration is this: being unaware that something is evidence.
Can I answer now?
well, let me just qualify it. Okay, then I'll give you the mic. Being unaware that the handgun is evidence does not logically necessitate that it is not evidence.
If you go to a murder scene and there's a gun on the floor, but the guy has a slash across his throat, was the gun the weapon?
You see, you're not understanding
Yes,
the illustration here.
The gun is part of the crime scene, and the answer is yes. You don't reject that evidence because that could be evidence that the guy had the gun in his hand.
All right, look, let me finish the illustration. If I pick up the gun,
Sure, but he said the murder weapon. So
look, random. If I pick up the gun and I show you that it's a cap pistol, then I can say this gun, because it's a cap pistol, is not the evidence of the homicide. Okay. But
or
just
he has a slash across his throat.
okay, but if I say to you, well, I'm unaware that there's any forensic evidence connecting the gun to the bullet, that doesn't logically necessitate that it is not evidence. You see, when you say the universe is not evidence, that's a propositional claim, not a mere state of mind. Like somebody says, well, I'm unaware of it. Being unaware of something does not logically necessitate that something does not exist. So basically what you're offering us is called the absence of evidence is evidence of absence. Now, if you're going to affirm that, you're going to have to tell us what the evidence for God would necessarily be. Okay? And then say it's not there. But if you can't tell us what the evidence would necessarily be, then you can't claim it's absent. Okay?
The universe existing doesn't necessarily point to a God being there.
Okay, good. But that does not support your contention that the universe is not evidence for God. You may not be persuaded that it is, but the fact that you are unpersuaded does not logically necessitate that the universe is not evidence for God. But suppose, for example, you wanted to say, well, the reason why the universe is not evidence for God is because God can't exist because a creator couldn't create in a timeless state. You could offer an argument like that, but I wouldn't recommend it. My point is this: you could show that the universe is not evidence for God by demonstrating through an argument that there is no God, or by demonstrating what did produce the universe. So, in the absence of those two reasons, you can't make the claim there's no evidence for God.
Okay, my not knowing what produced the universe doesn't mean a God did it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Can the universe have created itself?
I don't know.
You don't know. Did the universe have a beginning?
I don't know.
Okay. Is there any question you won't dodge?
I'm not dodging. Those are honest answers.
Okay. So
would you rather me make up an answer? Just
so
say
you think
yes
that
or no.
So something can create itself. Is that, you think that's possible?
Can something create itself?
Yeah.
Could
something
God
bring
create
itself
himself?
into existence. No, God didn't create himself. So
Well,
can something bring itself into existence?
Can something bring itself into existence? I don't think so.
Yeah, that'd be impossible. So the universe could not have brought itself into existence, could it?
I don't think so. I don't know.
That would be incoherent.
Yeah, and that's the definition, I think, of atheism. But we'll kind of so, well, you know, random atheist who doesn't want to give a real name, probably because would be embarrassed by people believing.
How about this? My name's Phil.
Okay.
Do you remember me now, Andrew?
Yeah, that's who I thought it was.
So that's why I asked if you believed in being honest. Because the last time we spoke, you claimed that I strawmanned you, which I had not.
You had. You
I
referenced articles, and you want to deny what the articles say. You decided you were going to keep going off on that. But so
you said I had strawmanned you, and I said I had not. And I showed you that I had not, and yet you still claim that I had. Rather than go back and look and say, oh, my bad.
Well, it's not a my bad. It's that you're just like in this. You're not dealing in reality. And I'm sorry, but you can't even figure out if the universe could bring itself into existence. You're not sure. If you go back in time, you'd see that there was the two articles are mitochondria man, mitochondria woman, with a context of it being in a podcast, and it gave dates for the first man and the first women, and they were millions of years apart.
No, what you're
that
not.
was the context.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You're not understanding that mitochondrial Eve, quote unquote, was the first female that shares our DNA sequence with us. Okay? You weren't understanding this. Hold on, I'm not finished. And mitochondrial or whatever it was for Adam. The male. Yes, they can exist hundreds of thousands of years apart.
Okay.
Okay, they're entirely different branches.
You're letting them off the hook with the original statement.
Yeah, no, because I'm going to get back to that. But here's the thing. So you have
here you go again. You're just going to blow it off.
I'm not blowing it off.
You're wrong then, and you're wrong now.
Okay. So you've just admitted that the first DNA woman and the first DNA man existed hundreds of years apart. Didn't live hundreds of thousands of years, but lived hundreds of thousands of years apart. That's impossible.
No, you're not understanding the point. You're not understanding what I said.
Okay, so we'll break it down. Let's make it easy. The first biological human female, did she live?
Incorrect already. Incorrect.
I didn't even finish the question. I'm incorrect already. So all right, then let's go. We'll go back to the original since we can't. According to Einstein, let's not go with what you would think of as these religious wackos. Did Einstein?
I mean, I never said that.
Did Einstein prove that the universe had a beginning?
I don't know. I'm not up on Einstein's things. I don't know. You tell me.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Okay, and that. So the universe had a beginning. Could it have created itself? Could it bring itself into existence?
Could the universe have created itself?
Yeah, could it bring itself into existence?
I don't know.
The answer is no.
I've already.
Okay, so then we'll do it again. Can something create itself? Can it bring itself into existence?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, you have to point out it's an incoherent concept.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. It's impossible, because in order to bring something into existence, you have to first exist.
You have to presuppose.
The matter and energy would have to first exist to have the ability to create something or bring something into existence. It's impossible. And this is showing.
How is it impossible?
It is impossible because it is a self-refuting, incoherent concept.
I just stated why. Okay? In order for mass and energy to bring mass and energy into existence, it first has to exist. It is an impossible scenario. It cannot bring itself into existence. But you want to think that that's possible because your real issue is you just want to avoid God.
I didn't say it was possible or impossible. I said I didn't know.
Okay,
Did I say it was either one of those? No,
fine.
I did not.
Okay, so we now know that the universe had an existence and it couldn't have brought itself into existence. You don't know, but every other honest person is going to answer that it's logically impossible to bring something into existence by itself. That's the very definition of circular reasoning. So, if the universe had a beginning, it didn't bring itself into existence, what brought that into existence? Since you say there's no evidence that God did it, what else could do it?
What if the universe didn't have a beginning?
Well, then you're going to run into the problem with the second law of thermodynamics.
Thank you.
How would the second law of thermodynamics disprove that?
Okay, let me ask you this question, and I will.
Hold on, no, please.
I will answer you. It has the same answer as we believing in the uniformity of nature. Okay, if you believe in the uniformity of nature due to induction, then you're going to have to believe in the second law of thermodynamics. Okay? Now, you understand the problem? If the universe has always existed and the second law of thermodynamics holds, okay? See, you would say the universe always existed by virtue of saying that the first law of thermodynamics would apply. Would that be the case, Random? That the universe
What's
has
the
always
first law of
existed?
thermodynamics?
First law of thermodynamics is that energy cannot be either created or destroyed. Now, do you believe that that would be the premise of your stating that the universe has always existed?
I'm not as up on that as I should be, so I don't know. I can't answer that.
Okay, well, most people of your position would agree with that. So that would be the first law of thermodynamics.
Actually,
I'm
let's
not
ask
arguing
this.
for that.
Does he understand the difference of what a law is in science?
You can ask me instead of asking him, Andrew. Thank you.
Oh, Phil, do you understand what a law is?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So then
I
look
put
up, because you're saying there's
the
no
article
proof.
with Adam and Eve from the genetic level, so you can peruse that again and educate.
Yeah,
You're changing the subject now.
I know,
Okay.
because
I'm going back to what we were talking about before he changed it again.
Well, the subject
Well,
is
hold on, George, hold on. Look, you did a red herring. You got called out on it by George. We got back to the original topic. So your red herring,
You know that it's there.
which you're trying to do yet again, is a dodge technique. So
I was just letting you know that it's there for you to check it out.
I've already checked it out. I've already told you the answer to that. You can't sit there and say the first time that there was a biological change to a man and a biological change to a woman could be...
You have no idea what you're talking about. That is not how it works.
That's right. That's the answer for every atheist. That's not how it works. Tell me this. Does the first and second law of thermodynamics work?
I don't know the laws of thermodynamics.
Then maybe before you espouse ignorance, you should start learning and understand the things that you're saying.
Holy shit. I want you to think about that next time you talk about evolution.
okay. Well,
No, he's gone. I warned him about the language.
Okay.
And the reality is,
Dodge with a capital D.
And that's all he's doing. Look, we saw the red herring argument. He's doing the Dillahunty Dodge argument, which, is the atheist technique. This is exactly, actually, George, what I didn't get to finish saying. Like what Matt Slick went to the that atheist training. All they did was teach to insult and dodge, and that's what you just saw. Okay,
not surprised at all.
To say we don't understand. This is what every atheist argues. If you bring up something, John, no, it's not.
No, it's not. I know for certain.
Okay. Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, I know who the guy who did it.
So,
well, that's Remy. That's because Andrew is Andrew is extremely gracious. I mean, he puts up with me, and he was very gracious with Phil. Okay, and Phil got booted because he just wanted to have a potty mouth.
Well, I mean, look, I didn't boot him after the first time he did it. I told him if he did it again, that he would. I know you wanted to continue discussing with him, and I understand that, but if I say I'm going to boot someone for their language, I'm going to boot them for their language. But the thing is I know that he contacted me on Twitter and he wanted to get into Bible Thumping Wingnut and have another discussion, and I think that he really wanted to try to get back to mitochondria, Adam and Eve, and argue that I don't understand that look, this is a real simple thing. If you want to believe that speciation creates new kinds of animals, okay, that over time you can get that, at some point you had to have a new genetically created man and female. So you had male and female. They have to be, this is the faith you have to be an atheist. You have to believe that male and female got all of the ability to reproduce at the same time in the same place, all completely having all the proper functionality. And when they looked at this, what's called the mitochondria atom, the first male, the first human that could be male and the first human Eve, they were hundreds of thousands of years apart. And my point in his original thing was that it's impossible because for them to be able to sit there and say they couldn't reproduce for hundreds of thousands of years, and he was saying 100,000, I think the real number was 60,000.
Well, you know, they say they don't believe in God because there's no evidence. So then why do they believe that random mutations can accrue in a hierarchical manner to produce incredible specified complexity when there's no observation that it can?
Correct.
So you see, they're guilty of the very thing they condemn God believers and theists and Christians for. There's no observational support for the efficacy of mutations to accrue specified complexity.
Yeah, and then if you point that out, they throw the ad hominem as he did by saying that I'm not being honest,
or you don't understand evolution.
And then it's and the reality is that, you know, here we're you know, he's it really is funny because what you saw was he's dodging and not even accept. I mean, how long would it take to accept by looking up what the law of thermodynamics? This isn't something that some Christian got from the Bible. We didn't get the definition there.
You see, what he dodged was he made a propositional statement. The universe is not evidence for God. Not, I'm unaware of it.
Correct.
Okay, and so say, okay, can you show that God does not exist? No, he wouldn't go there. Can you demonstrate to me what did produce the universe? No. Then what is the rational basis for your statement the universe is not evidence for God?
Before you espouse ignorance, you should start learning and understand the things that you're saying.
Holy shit. I want you to think about that next time you talk about evolution.